Hi, old school comics review. I just want to talk about this comic. There's nothing particularly deep about it or anything like that. I just found it in a local comic book store, and it just cracks me up. So I want to talk about it. It's Captain Victory and the Galactic Rangers by Jack Kirby. This is from 1981 and was published by a company called Pacific Comics and which was an independent comic book company from the late 80s, or I'm sorry, late 70s, early 80s. I don't think they lasted very long, and I think the creators that were doing comics for them, um, ended up going to some of the other companies that are around, like Eclipse and First Comics. But anyway, this is Jack Kirby. Like right after, well, if you're familiar with Jack Kirby co-created probably like any, you know, dozens of characters that you've heard of, from the Fantastic Four to Captain America to the Hulk to all those characters at Marvel to over at DC, Darkseid and Apocalypse and Orion and all that type of stuff, the original version of OMAC and whatnot. So anyway, Jack's at Marvel Comics in the 60s and 70s. He goes to DC. Late 70s, he goes back to Marvel Comics, has some sort of falling out or gets tired of working there or whatever. And I think at this point, I think is when right around the time he went to Hollywood more or less and started working in animation and doing designs and stuff behind the scenes. I think right around this time is probably when he was working on Thundar the Barbarian. I'm not 100% sure. I don't think he did the initial designs for that cartoon, but I think he did designs of like all types of secondary characters and things like that. If you're my age, you probably remember Thundar the Barbarian from broadcast television. Ookla, Ariel, Ride. But anyway, Captain Victory and the Galactic Rangers basically is a pseudo science fiction-y type story. Uh, Captain Victory is the captain of this space armada or whatever, and they're trying to fight the bad guys. The bad guys are the Insectons, Lightning Lady and the Insectons. Lightning Lady looks pretty humanoid here, uh, but everybody else looks like insect space monster type people. Um, Basically, it's just a rip roaring action type thing. Giant spaceships, giant machines, things blowing up, people standing around looking grim. It's uh, full of, Jack Kirby's god awful dialogue. Okay. But it's great, I just get a kick out of it. There's a character in here called Mastermind that reminds me of the old Modoc character. He's like a giant head on some sort of floating contraption, and that's it. It's this year. There's a pretty funny part in the story very early on where they're going to fight the space monsters or whatever, and Captain Victory gets this thing strapped to his head. He has the portable command post, and he says, "Well, I've got to go to the bridge." First of all, the whole point of having a portable command post, I assume, is so that you can command everything from any place, And what's funny about this is, the captain's like, "I gotta go to the bridge. The aliens are attacking," and everybody tells him, "Captain, don't go to the bridge. The aliens will attack the bridge. You'll get blown up and get killed." He goes to the bridge anyway, and of course he gets killed. Um, then later on, they revive him. They put his brain in another clone body. What does it say here? I'm just looking for it in the comic here. Da 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 da. Here, thanks to the memory storage unit, we've transferred his identity to this new body. And somebody else says, his second in command, Major Clavis says, "This is his 10th. He'll run out of clones soon." Uh, and then somebody says, "The fool, we tried to keep him off the bridge. We knew what would happen." "Is it true, sir? Are you a fool?" "I'm a captain of the Rangers." It's full of crap like this. It just kills me though. There's full of exploding planets, giant machines, weird contraptions. I just get a kick out of it. I wouldn't recommend this to anybody If you're new to Jack Kirby, or if somebody says, well, why is this Jack Kirby person important anyway? I would suggest you get, any number of the essentials that Marvel puts out, that old Fantastic Four stuff. I would recommend from the mid 70s. Um, his Eternals run is full of weird, crazy ideas. Also, of course, the New God stuff he did for DC. Once again, though, um, Jack Kirby's right. I mean, the stories and the ideas are just fantastic, but his dialogue is really bad. I mean, if you're used to like modern comic book writers, guys like Brian Michael Bendis or Mark Millar or Jeff Johns, or anybody like that who's big right now. Matt Fraction is big. Uh, this is like every bit of corny dialogue you've ever heard from every bad movie, every bad B flick. That's how Jack Kirby writes, and that's just too bad. But that's okay. Uh, you can still have fun with it. You could have fun with the cheese factor. I mean, right here on the cover, forces from the Star Wars clash on Earth. Whatever the hell that means. It's new. It's exciting. It's original. Basically, at the end of the story, Captain Victory manages to, because it's set in contemporary time, he chases the uh, aliens out of the galaxy that they're in, and of course, at the last page, they're in Colorado somewhere, and Captain Victory is trying to tell some sheriff that get ready because the aliens are coming, and it ends with a giant double page or a giant splash of just his giant double page spread of his giant spaceship, and whatever. It's just great. I just wanted to talk about it. It cracks me up. Like I said, I found it at a local comic book store. It's obviously the pages are starting to fade. um, it's got that old comic book smell. um, it's obviously been in somebody's basement for a number of years, but it just rules. So anyway, thanks a lot, and you have a great one. I just want to talk about because